In this video, we're going to install a large head unit on our 5th generation Toyota Rav4. This is the large head unit we're going to install. It is specifically designed to fit really nicely on the 5th generation Toyota Rav4 dashboard. The dimension of the display is 12.3 inches. And that, compared to the original Toyota head unit, it's very huge. In this video though, we're only going to install this head unit, and then I will do a follow-up video after I've used this for a few weeks to discuss the features of this. The back of the head unit has a smaller plugs compared to the Desaita, but overall I think it's the same. You have a fuse over here, you have a lot of ports over here to convert the wires coming from the Rav4 into the head unit. You have your antenna, you have 4G if you have a SIM card for that, and then you have your GPS. All of these wire harnesses were included inside of the package for this head unit, but depending on which package you purchase, you may not get like SIM card or some other ones based on what you select on the drop-down options. The accessories that I've received for this head unit, which may vary depending on the options you select, included a GPS, which I believe would come standard, microphone, which I believe would also come standard. We have two antennas here. This, based on the board, says it's for 4G plus and 4G minus. So maybe if you have a SIM card accessory, this is what you would use it for. We have something that connects to the board of the head unit with a bunch of wires for audio signals and for the microphone. And over here on the other end of this piece is the SIM card tool. This is the main wire harness, I would say. You have your antenna for radio. All of these connect to the head unit, and then over here, these bulkier ones are where your Rav4 wire harnesses come in. There are a few smaller ones as well, used also for the wires that come from the Rav4. And then we also have pieces for USB if you want to connect a USB thumb drive. I never actually used this for the Desaita, and I probably won't plug this in also for the install. It's a lot of wires to run to make this accessible, and I'm not a fan of repeating that. And the other piece is the CAN Bus Decoder. So this takes all the signals from the Rav4, runs it through this, decodes it, I guess, and makes it in a package to communicate with aftermarket pieces. So this is also pretty important, and it is also included. The head unit itself is also pretty basic, but nice. Very large display with only one button in the center. I don't see capacitive buttons on the side, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's not illuminated because it's not powered. On the back, over here are where all the wires land. And what I also noticed is mounting hardware as well. This was an issue with the Desaita. We'll see if this package fits really well with the Rav4 locations. I'm going to go ahead and remove this Desaita head unit. I'm not sure how much of this I will record because the installation and removal process are already covered in a previous video, which you can check out. And once we have this removed, then we'll definitely record how this is installed and wired up. First thing we do is remove the cover off the back, which is this piece right here. Get like a trim tool, kind of stick it back here and pop it up. And that comes out very easily. The socket wrenches are 10 millimeters. There are 4, 2 on each side. Once you have all 4 bolts removed from the back of the head unit, we're basically going to pull this forward, and then we'll start unplugging everything. Because my Rav4 has the Desaita head unit and a wire harness in between the Rav4 and the head unit itself, I need to disconnect all the wire harnesses that came with this head unit to do a fresh install of the new one. At this point, I would recommend you disconnect your 12-volt battery. There are live wires between the Rav4 and the head unit which could get shorted, so it's good practice to disconnect your positive or your red from your Rav4 to kind of close the overall circuit. Or is it the black one? I'm not really sure. I'm going to basically pull it out. You can see a rat's nest of wire harnesses between this head unit and the Rav4. I'm going to disconnect everything that comes from the Rav4 into this and keep all the wire harness connected to the head unit itself, except for the ones that are like the GPS, which runs all the way over here, and my USBs, which run to my glove box, because I don't want to be pulling that entire thing out of there. So the Desaita head unit's uninstalled. We still have a mess over here, but I'll address that as we install the next head unit. Just so you know, this car does turn on and fully function without errors without a head unit installed. I have it on because I'm outside and it's hot, so I have the AC circulating every now and then to kind of cool me off. But it works. You don't need a head unit. If you want to be a less distracted driver, it's a good idea. The aftermarket head unit comes with an instructions. It's like a 2-pager or 4 pages, I guess, 2 sides, with instructions and diagrams of how to wire it up. It's pretty useful because it tells you what each of these little pieces are, what they're for. And when it comes to the installation of my head unit, I'm going to be a little bit selective with what I add. For example, I don't have a SIM card to do a data plan on my head unit, so I won't install the 4G antennas, but they do exist. These 2 things, I'm not going to plug it into my head unit and run wires to my windshield because I just don't have a use for it. But I imagine if I did have a SIM card and I plugged it in, it should work completely fine. I will not be able to demonstrate that in this video. The other thing, this GPS is the same sort of GPS connection as the Desaita one. So I'm not going to reinstall or rewire this unless there's some compatibility issues with the other one. I don't think that would be the case. So a GPS would be something I will skip out in this video, but you can watch my other video with how to send wire kind of behind the dashboard up the A-pillar and over here where the windshield is by the reverse mirror or rear view mirror. The head unit also comes with a microphone. For the Desaita head unit, the microphone, it comes with a microphone accessory kit, and there's a microphone built into the head unit. So I disconnected this and I removed the wiring. I hope that is still the case for this head unit with some microphone ports or holes on the front of the display. That way we don't have to run this wire. So I'm going to skip out on this and we'll do a test to make sure it works. Otherwise we'll have to run some microphone to some location in the Rav4. Another thing that I read on here is this is the backup camera, and this is the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi antennas. So you need to connect this whether you have a backup camera or not, and our Rav4s do. So just keep that in mind. The first things I'm going to do is connect the main wire harness to whatever comes out of the Rav4. It's pretty easy because everything is sized differently to fit. So this one is the audio, and there's only one sort of audio port that fits this. So that connects to that. We have this piece, which is our antenna, and now we'll go into here. We have this. I don't know what this is, but I know that it connects into the only piece it fits into. So that's clipped, and then the last major piece clips into here. This main wire harness also has the reverse camera coming in and going into this piece here, and this piece connects into here that has our Bluetooth and Wi-Fi antennas, which will then connect to the head unit. This piece here with some foaming around it and a USB label connects into the gray squarish piece of our Rav4. Yep, that clips in there. This is another cable that plugs into the head unit with giving you USB port for probably Android Auto, because I don't think that's wireless yet, unlike Apple CarPlay. So you'll want to plug this into your head unit. It doesn't have anything to do with the Rav4 wire harnesses. This CAN bus box, if it isn't already plugged in, will go into the main wire harness on this white cable right here. It simply just plugs in there to decode the Rav4 signals. And then that's pretty much it with all of this. In my Rav4, we installed a front-facing camera, which has its own sort of separate wire harness That will not be covered in this video because it is not part of the Rav4, at least not in most Rav4s unless you have that front camera package. Then your installation process might involve this wire harness to use the camera in video port as well for that. So right now we will ignore that piece and focus on what's pretty much default for most of the Rav4s. We have most of the wire harnesses plugged in. What I'm going to do next is plug it into the head unit. Then we'll turn on the Rav4 and see how it looks. Make sure I didn't miss anything. So back here we have antenna or 4G, which we're going to skip. And then on the bottom there's an open port here, which is for this guy. That will go in there. And then next to that is the GPS, which is where we will plug in our GPS. And then we have this black piece goes all the way here to this end for powering this unit. The reverse camera, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth antennas going into a 5x2 pin port, which looks like the one on the top right or top left. Well, that just depends on how you're angling this, I guess. We have something else that's a 4x2. I'm going to plug that in. And then this piece is a 2x2, so that will also go in. We have some open ports as well. I just want to make sure. Okay, the large one is for this huge bundle of audio ports, and the SIM card, which we're not using. There is a 2x2 and a 2x3, which we are not using. I think we have it all plugged in to what I have. I'm gonna see if I can sort of kind of shove it back here. Okay, it does stand. It looks really nice so far. We're gonna turn on the Rav4 and see how it looks. The head unit is fully installed. No issues with it. The bolt holes of the head unit align perfectly with the Rav4, so I didn't have to do some weird maneuvering to get those bolts installed and secured. The software on this, it's Android. It is kind of different, let's say. It's still an Android tablet in the end of user interface, but the settings and features that come with this head unit are a little different. So we'll learn more about that, or I'll learn more about that to share with you in a future video. Until then, I think that is everything you need to know about installing this head unit. Very easy to do, and it looks really, really nice right now on the center of the Rav4.